Most people, to the untrained eye, are going to sit here and say that this owner starved her dogs.
We're going to head up to that dog call right now. So we'll go out, we'll assess the situation.
I mean, look at it. These dogs look like garbage. I mean, that's just not... Did you see there's bags of food there?
She was very upset about losing all of her cats. She called me up a few times in tears.
I need my photos. I need to be able to paint this picture for the judge so that he sees what I see.
Welcome to a meeting of your Planning Commission, the official local planning agency for the cities of Tampa, Temple Terrace, Plant City, and unincorporated Hillsborough County. The Planning Commission provides innovative leadership and long-range vision that contributes to the creation of a thriving, prosperous community that offers opportunity, fairness, and choice in how we live, move, learn, work, and play. For more information about the Planning Commission, please call 813-272-5940. Follow us on social media or visit our website at planhillsborough.org.
Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to the January 12th, 2026 public hearing of the Planning Commission on Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan Amendments. We thank you for attending this meeting. Your comments and participation are encouraged. For those attending in person and wishing to speak on any agenda item, please sign the register at the rear of the room and turn off any devices that may be a distraction. To minimize feedback in the audio, all online participants in the meeting will be muted until it is their opportunity to speak. Planning commissioners should unmute themselves to indicate that they would like to speak. Please be sure to state your name at the beginning of your remarks for the benefit of the clerk. There will be an opportunity for members of the public to provide comments. When your name is called, you will be unmuted when it is your turn to speak. Please wait until the chair calls on you to begin speaking. State your name at the beginning of your comments and adhere to the time limits. If anyone has difficulties or is watching via HTV and would like to provide comments to be included in the record for the local government hearing, please email them to planner@plancom.org. For those of you who are not familiar with our process, the meeting will be conducted as follows. The agenda item will be introduced. Staff will give their presentation with a 15-minute time limit. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make a presentation with a 15-minute time limit. Following presentations, members of the public may address the Planning Commission when recognized by the chairman. Public comment will be heard for 3 minutes per person. The applicant will be afforded a 3-minute period for rebuttal response. Planning commissioners will then ask questions. Public comment will be closed. Then upon a motion, a second, and discussion, a vote will be taken. To all participants, please note that tonight's hearing concerns proposed changes to the comprehensive plan. Presentation should not include matters related to zoning applications and site plans that are not before the commission. Zoning conditions are not relevant to plan amendments and may not be considered by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission's purview in making a recommendation is limited to consistency or inconsistency with the comprehensive plan. With that opening, I'll ask the clerk to please go ahead and call roll.
Good evening. Bowden?
Here.
Cardenas? Here. Kona?
Here.
Jemison? Kugler?
Here.
Linkus? Here. Lauk?
Here.
Sieben? Here. Sink? Barry?
Here.
Orton? Here. Joseph?
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. All right, our first order of business is, actually, before we get into our action items, I just want to announce item 2B, HCCPA 25-23 Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment has been continued to the January cycle. That's the 117 North Dover Road, so we will not be hearing or taking action on that tonight. In case anybody was here for that, you can get out of here instead of hanging out late. All right, so now we will start with our first action item, 2A, HCCPA 25-01, Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment, 2002 West Highway 60, and the presenter is Tyreek Royal.
Good evening, everyone. Tyreek Royal, Planning Commission staff. Today I'll be presenting HCCPA 2501 at 2002 West Highway 60. This request is privately initiated small-scale map amendment with approximately 9.5 acres. The request is to change the future land use designation from residential 1 to suburban mixed use 6 as directed by the Board of County Commissioners on August 14th, 2025. The original privately initiated request sought a future land use designation of Office Commercial 20. The location of the site is in the eastern portion of unincorporated Hillsborough County. It's within the rural area, a wellhead protection area, and not located within the limits of a community plan. This is an aerial photo of the site outlined in pink. It's located north of State Road 60, south of Mud Lake Road. Surrounding uses include agricultural uses to the west and south, single-family uses to the north, and light commercial uses to the east. The urban service area is located to the southwest, and you can see it in blue. This is a photo facing north towards the subject site. And here's a photo facing south with the subject site being behind the camera. And here's the east view of the property with the site being located to the left. And finally, there's a west view of the property and the site is being located to the right. The site is in the residential 1 future land use category. It allows for consideration for agricultural, farms, ranches, residential, neighborhood commercial, office, and multi-purpose projects. Commercial uses are subject to locational criteria. The site is approximately 1.7 miles from the urban service area, and the public, quasi-public area is Medard Park to the southwest. The parcel designated as Office Commercial 20 has had that future land use designation since at least 1999 and is conducting business as Everglades Farming Equipment. The applicant is requesting to change the future land use category from Res 1 to SMU 6. The SMU 6 allows for agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, research corporate park uses, light industrial, multi-purpose, and cluster residential and or mixed use. Office uses are not subject to locational criteria. On to the impacts. The change from residential 1 to SMU 6 would allow for an increase in development by allowing significantly higher residential density and greater commercial intensity. The density of 1 dwelling unit per gross acre would increase to 6 dwelling units an acre, and the commercial intensity would increase from a 0.25 FAR, or approximately 103,000 square feet, to a 0.5 FAR, or approximately 206,000 square feet. The following policies were considered by Planning Commission staff in evaluation of this amendment. And Planning Commission staff has reviewed the proposed application and found it to be inconsistent based on the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County plan, including Objective 1.2, relating to the development pattern expected in the rural area. The rural area is intended to provide for long-term agricultural uses, large lot residential development, and undeveloped natural areas. The change to SMU 6 represents a significant shift in intensity and character that is not consistent with the established rural development pattern. The proposal does not meet intent of FLU Objective 4.4 or FLU Policy 4.4.1, which require that new development be compatible with surrounding neighborhood in terms of scale, intensity, and character. The surrounding land use pattern within this portion of the rural area is predominantly residential and agricultural in nature. FLU Objective 2.2 explains how the allowable range of uses would be permitted in its respective future land use category. The proposed amendment would significantly increase both residential density and non-residential development potential in a location that is currently planned for rural residential and agricultural uses, and therefore is inconsistent with the intent of Objective 2.2. With that, Planning Commission staff recommend that the proposed map amendment, HGCPA 2501, be found inconsistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. And that concludes my presentation. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name is Todd Pressman, 200 2nd Avenue South, number 451 in St. Petersburg. Thank you, Tyreek, for that report. This is HCCPA 25-01. Mr. Chairman and board members, this is kind of interesting because we've already been to the Board of County Commissioners for this site very recently, and at their remand, which is why we're here tonight, asked us to reduce the category proposed to SMU 6, which of course we were happy to do. So this has been to you, back to the Board of County Commissioners, seeking a lesser category, and that is before you, before this evening. So a little bit unusual how this came to you. As indicated, Tyreek has shown you the site is out in the Plant City area. This is as shown in your staff report, future land use map. Now, interestingly enough, the business and the applicant and property owner runs a family trucking business. They are in the agricultural support business. So they are running Navarro produce from Texas to Florida. They bring products back and forth primarily here. They make weekly runs, bringing agricultural products back to the county with multiple trucks. So this is their family business. Again, you can see from their trucks that they're in the agricultural support business. They primarily bring the products back to Plant City Farm and Flea Market, which is actually one of the largest in this part of the state, if not the whole state. They claim the largest in Florida on their billboard. So when you look at the site and what's actually there in terms of uses, There is a Happy Pets pet boarding site next door. There's a tremendous forest buffer to the north. Further to the east is a church compound. And next door, interestingly enough, which I'll go through some points with you, is a large intensive agriculture use, primarily farm and farming equipment. So this is the daycare next door. This is the, I refer to as a church, religious institution. Next lot, a parcel to the east, which appears to be pretty busy. And this is the site as the property appraiser has it. So what's interesting, Mr. Chairman and board members, is that the use next door is proposed to be really the same use we're proposing here, which is the parking and a site for vehicle parking. That's the use that's proposed. So when you look at the site next door and you can see that there's trucks parked, it becomes kind of a disparity that on one side of the fence, they can do what we want to do here, but we can't do it here because of the existing zoning situation. So these are some of the vehicles and equipment next door. We want to do that on the other side of the fence. A lot of bureaucracy, a lot of mixture of issues and categories don't allow it. We'd like to do the same thing. Now, traffic counts, State Route 60 at that point is very busy, 21,500 vehicles per day. It is part of the state arterial principal artery in the county, and is also on the truck route under the Hillsborough County Commissioner's truck route plan. So the roadway that they access on is a very intensive roadway. Zoning plan, don't want to show no zoning plans, Mr. Chairman. Now, I think one area that you've not heard from your staff is that there's an entire chapter of your comp plan for agriculture, which is a directive to support agriculture as a really high priority. General considerations, Objective 5.1, recognition of the importance of agriculture as an industry and valuable economic resource. Hillsborough County shall promote economic viability of agricultural activities by recognizing and providing for its unique characteristics in land use planning and land development regulation. 5.2.5 of your comp plan, agriculture and agriculture support uses are the preferred uses in the rural area. Now, your staff did a fine report, and they looked at it very closely, but you did not see these categories or these policies that tell you specifically that what we are proposing today is the preferred use in the rural areas. 5.2.4, agriculture-related commercial uses, more intensive or heavy than neighborhood-serving commercial, may be considered in the rural land use categories. 5.1.8, support existing agricultural uses as an historical component of the community and their economic importance to the county. 5.1.1, encourage agricultural uses with and around such centers, referring to agricultural market centers, which they are deeply involved with on a weekly basis. 5.1.6, agriculture-related uses shall be permitted again in non-rural land use categories as well, throughout the whole county. So while your staff looks at, with all due respect, the typical elements that do in terms of compatibility, there's an entire chapter that tells you that this is a priority. This is a use that's important, not just to Hillsborough County, but economically and historically. And I will tell you that we've been through 3 major hearings, must have done 3 or 4 public notices. I don't recall a single person coming forward in opposition or having concerns about the issue. So with that, Mr. Chairman, board members, we appreciate your consideration and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. All right. We didn't have anyone sign up in the public comment for this one, so I will turn it over to our planning commissioners for questions, comments, thoughts, and discussion on this item. Commissioner Kono?
We heard that this came to us before. Can we go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so it went to the Board of County Commissioners originally as an office commercial use. They sent it back because they thought the OC20 was too intensive a use in the rural area. We debriefed this with the Board of County Commissioners, and although they did send it back as an SMU6, it's only because it's a less intense use. They still commented that it's an intense use for the rural area during our workshop.
Mr. Pressman, yeah.
With the greatest respect to Tyreek, the county commissioners specifically remanded it back into the system and into the cycle. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that correct? The county commissioners sent it back to us as wanting a SMU 60 on it
Yes, they sent it back as opposed to Office Commercial 20 because it was a lesser intense future land use category.
Right, but they could have just denied it outright.
That's correct.
Okay. Is that good? All right. Commissioner Kugler.
Yes, following up on Commissioner Kona's comments, and I saw that Agricultural Code 5.25 was referenced. I didn't understand from the original plan that this was supposed to be promoting agriculture, but maybe I misread the idea of the project. And I don't know why that 5.25 agriculture was brought in, because the change of land use looks like it's aiming toward housing and office space.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that during these comprehensive plan amendments that we're looking at the specific category and not the actual use. So we have to look at the entirety of what's allowable in the SMU 6. I think the applicant was trying to specify that agriculture uses or what the intent is, which is already allowed in the residential one, the current future land use category. That's correct.
Ms. Ornita?
Yeah, I would just add that uses that are agriculturally related and more intensive, typically the residential one land use category allows up to a commercial general zoning district. But if, for example, somebody wants to do like a tractor repair shop, that is clearly an agriculturally related use. And it's more intensive than what's typically allowed in CG. That policy specifically allows that can occur in our rural land use categories because that's the appropriate location for it to be located. So if the CI use was only related to agricultural uses, like a tractor repair store would be, then it would be eligible to be considered under the land use category they have today, just like a tomato processing plant would be in Ruskin or something like that. I think that perhaps, and maybe Mr. Pressman can expand on this, some of the issue may be how the use is classified in its zoning, that it needs the CI zoning to be a bit more broad than just solely agriculturally related?
You're absolutely correct. And in the direction of the zoning, they also say, which you state in reports and such, is that the companion rezoning is a PD because it didn't fit specifically into that R1 category. So we are forced to, there was a idiosyncrasy in the code about, and I actually looked at doing just a land use amendment to one of the rural categories, but it just didn't fit on this site. We had to go for the PD and go for the direction that you just explained. Thank you.
Okay. So yes, typically we would allow an agriculturally related commercial intensive use they wouldn't have to do a plan amendment. They'd be allowed to just do a zoning, but I think because there's some nuances to their use that might need a little bit broader than that's why they ended up in this process. Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Laut.
Mr. Pressman hit exactly on my question. If you look at AR 1 through 5, there are multiple opportunities for agricultural equipment storage, trucks directly tied to farming, land management, or ag services, open storage associated with ag operations. So I'm wondering why the applicant chose and remand the designation that is versus like one of the AR designations.
Well, let me clarify again. We didn't ask for the remand. The Board of County Commissioners made a motion for the remand. So I want to be very clear on that. I can't make remands. I don't make motions. You guys and the Board of County Commissioners do. The best way I can answer without getting into zoning too deeply is that there's more than one use here, which supports the agricultural activity. So once you get into more than one use, you can't do Euclidean zoning. You have to do PD. So we have a residence, and we have a small home office. He asked the question, so I'm trying to respond.
No, the home
trying to
office
respond,
makes
Mr. Chairman.
sense why you're looking
So,
for what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And the residents.
Yeah,
That's
and
perfect.
if you look at agriculture, I'm going by memory here. If you look at agricultural support uses, that was one direction we could go, but because of the other ancillary accessory uses or virtual smaller uses, again, we had to go for the PD.
Okay, the request
Thank you.
makes sense. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions, comments, thoughts from the commissioners? Commissioner Lauk.
I'm not sure. Did you get your answer? How did we rule on this last time? I'm curious regarding that fact.
When it came to us, how did we?
Yeah, what
I
was
believe,
our
I believe it was
determination?
found inconsistent for the
I thought so,
OC20 as
too.
well.
OC20.
Office Commercial 20.
Yeah. All right. Were there any other questions, comments, thoughts from the commissioners? Not seeing any. I'll just remind everyone, if you are going to make a motion against staff, definitely want to have some policies. Mr. Pressman gave a good bunch of them. Anybody wanted to use those? Just saying. All right. So I will see if anybody wants to say anything else or ask any questions. Going once, going twice. Not seeing any. I'll close the public comment on this item. Open it up to motions from the commissioners on this item. Commissioner Kona.
Because it seems we've gotten some direction from the county commissioners, I'm going to make a motion that we find HCCPA 2501 consistent with a comprehensive plan based on objectives 5.1 and then policies 5.2.5, 5.2.4, 5.1.8.
All right, we have a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Kona. Is there a second to that motion out there? Citing objective 5.1, policy 5.2.5, policy 5.2.4, and policy 5.1.8. Do I have a second anywhere out there?
I'll second it.
All right, Commissioner Linkus, we got a second to that motion. A motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Kona. A second to that by Commissioner Linkus, citing objective 5.1, policy 5.2.5, 5.2.4, and 5.1.8. Are there any questions, clarifications needed from the commissioners? Again, we're voting for a consistency finding here. So would all signify their agreement by saying aye? Aye. Those opposed? All right, we're going to kick it over to a roll call.
Bowden,
Nay.
Cardenas. Kona,
Aye.
Kugler,
Nay.
Linkus. Aye. Lauk,
Aye.
Sieben. Joseph.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-2.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Next up, we have item 2C, because again, item 2B has been continued. So item 2C, HCCPA 25-30, Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment, south side of 11th Avenue Southeast and east of 27th Street Southeast. And the presenter is David Hay. Mike.
Good evening, Commissioners. David Hay, Planning Commission staff. The next item for your review is HCCPA 25-30. It's located on the south side of 11th Avenue Southeast, and it's east of 27th Street Southeast down in Ruskin. The request, it's privately initiated, is small scale. It's approximately 4.7 acres. Currently, the subject site has a future land use designation of suburban mixed use 6, and the applicant is seeking to go to the office commercial 20 future land use category. Here we have a general location map. It is located in the southern part of unincorporated Hillsborough County down in Ruskin. It is within the urban service area. It does fall within the boundaries of the Ruskin Community Plan and also within the boundaries of the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan. Here we have the aerial of the site. The subject site is outlined in yellow. This is 11th Avenue Southeast. You've got East College Avenue to the north. This is the interchange with I-75, which you can see down here, running north-south, basically. This is 27th Street Southeast. This is the main roadway that gains access into 11th. This is a dead-end road. This is the Moffett South Shore campus that has just been completed. This surrounding area, there's a mixture of residential uses, larger lot, and then mobile homes on the south side. There is a non-residential auto use located to the north that, from our records, seems to be non-conforming because it's AS1. Then you've got additional residential further to the west. Here we've got some pictures of the subject site. Here we're looking southeast into the subject site from 11th Avenue Southeast. Now we're looking southwest toward the adjacent residential uses, that's the mobile homes. The subject site is located out of frame on the left, so it's just over here. Here we're looking northwest from 11th Avenue Southeast toward the AS1 zoned property. The subject site is located behind, kind of on the left. Here now we're looking west down 11th Avenue Southeast toward that 27th Street is in the distance. This is the subject site on the left. Now we're looking northeast from 11th Avenue Southeast. The subject site is located out of frame over here on the right. And now we're looking southeast again from 11th Avenue Southeast. The subject site is located in the distance down here on the left. Here we have the adopted future land use map. You can see the subject site and all the properties around it are designated that SMU6. That allows residential and commercial, even some light industrial is permitted through PDs in the SMU6. This right-of-way is unimproved, this north-south right-of-way, so the only access is from 11th Avenue Southeast and 27th. To the east, around the intersection, this darker kind of pink is that community mixed use 12 future land use category. South of 14th Avenue Southeast, it goes down to the residential 4. The blue line here is the urban service area, so all this property south of this line is within the rural area, and then we do have some residential 1 tucked down here in the corner. So here's the proposed future land use map. You can see the subject site changes to that office commercial 20 future land use category. The closest office commercial 20, there is some on the other side of this interchange off the map, kind of up here, closer to Sun City. Again, this road does not go through, even though it's shown there. Now we have the overall impacts under the existing SMU6. The subject site can be considered for up to a maximum of 28 residential units or a maximum non-residential development up to approximately 102,000 square feet. Under the proposed office commercial 20, that development potential increases. The maximum residential potential goes up to 94 dwelling units, and the potential non-residential increases to approximately 153,000 square feet. It should be noted that though the density increases from 6 to 20 units per acre and the floor area ratio increases from 0.5 to a 0.75 under the office commercial 20, light industrial uses, which can be considered under any proposed planned development at the zoning stage under the existing SMU6, would no longer be allowed to be considered under the office commercial 20 future land use category. We did get some agency comments. The transportation comments from the county did note that based on the traffic analysis, there will not be adequate capacity on 4 of the 5 analyzed impacted roadway segments to accommodate the additional trips generated by the proposed flu in the future scenario. That's included within your agency comments section of the report. EPC did comment that the subject site appears to contain wetlands, and the school board did comment that there seems at this time to be adequate capacity at the existing designated schools within the area. While formulating our recommendation, PC staff reviews all related policies regarding the proposed request. Though the request is related to several general policies, staff found 2 main areas of inconsistency. First, staff finds that introduction of office commercial 20 future land use category at this location at the end of a local dead-end residential road poses potential compatibility issues and is inconsistent with several policies related to neighborhood character and overall compatibility. The existing SMU6 category is designated as suburban land use category in the adopted comp plan and surrounds the site on all those 4 sides. The office commercial 20 is an urban designated category. The nearest urban designated land use category is that community mixed use 12, which is approximately 1,000 feet to the southeast of the subject site and also located near the intersection of Interstate 75 and College Avenue. Additionally, though the office commercial 20 category removes consideration for light industrial uses, the remaining parcels along this portion of 11th Avenue Southeast will retain consideration for light industrial uses through the remaining adopted SMU 6. So the staff's finding is that the removal of the potential light industrial uses would have minimal impact on the overall development pattern along this portion of 11th Avenue Southeast because all other parcels would be allowed that consideration. What staff found more significant is that the proposed office commercial 20 allows consideration of multifamily developments with up to 20 dwelling units per acre. A potential multifamily project at the end of this local roadway would significantly impact the area, such as increasing traffic on the existing larger lot single-family detached residential pattern along this portion of 11th Avenue. Moreover, the overall building massing could pose negative effects as most existing structures on that portion of that roadway are single-story. For the record, there is a related rezoning with the applicant seeking a CI zoning district, which under the current SMU 6 designation could be considered on-site, but would require a planned development to demonstrate mitigation measures that reduce impacts on surrounding residential uses. The requested office commercial 20 removes that requirement for a planned development. Since CI uses are currently permitted to be considered through a planned development, and the overall existing density under the SMU 6 category aligns with the established development pattern along this portion of 11th Avenue, Planning Commission staff found the request of office commercial 20, which increases overall density and non-residential square footage, again at the end of a local dead-end roadway, but it also removes the requirement to demonstrate mitigation measures by requiring a planned development at the rezoning stage could potentially create negative impacts on those residential uses located west of the subject site. In regards to the community plan, the Ruskin Community Plan supports economic development that reflects the community's character. Staff found the potential for a multi-story, multi-family development at an urban level of density would not be in character with the existing larger lot suburban development along this portion of 11th Avenue Southeast. Based on the adopted policy direction, Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed request be found inconsistent with the adopted unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation?
I believe so.
Full service operation. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name is Todd Pressman, 200 2nd Avenue South, number 451, St. Petersburg. This is HCCPA 2025-30, and as Mr. A has indicated, this is a companion rezoning to commercial intensive. So we are located in the south area of the county. Request is SMU 6 to OC 20 for approximately 4.7 acres. You see that we located somewhat between Sun City Center Boulevard and I-75. This is as the property appraiser has it. And you see a little closer, we are at the end of 11th Avenue Southeast. So on one side, as Mr. Hay indicated, is an unimproved roadway which connects to nowhere because it's a long stretch of unimproved wetlands to the east, dense forestation to the south, and I'll show you some of the other uses that are going on in the immediate area. Florida Department of Environmental Protection shows the wetlands. National Wetlands shows the wetlands at the site. And the reason I showed you a few slides of that is because I think one very important integral part of this request is that this is a very isolated property at the end of 11th Avenue South. And we've had tremendous support from the immediate community, which I'll show you in a little bit. So when you look down 11th Avenue, you see it's a dead end. No other owners there. that are operating except across the street. And I think what's important is that the area now is all SMU 6. That's an intensive category. The entire area is SMU 6 and CMU 12. So this is an area that is designated for very intense and operations that support SMU 6 and OC 20. This is a large area of intensive future land use category. So the existing SMU 6 recognizes corporate parks, light industrial multipurpose, which quite frankly is more than what we're seeking under the zoning. I won't say anything more on that. Current SMU 6, again, light industrial multipurpose, park uses, corporate park uses, and a high FAR. So we may be asking for a higher category, but I think it's critical and would ask you to consider that the existing area is designated as very intense. Now, the Planning Commission recommendation, and Mr. Hay did indicate some of this, that they analyzed all parcels located east of 24th Avenue Southeast, south of College Avenue, west of 75. And though there have been recent developments along parcels fronting College Avenue, those include Moffett, South Shore Campus, and the extra space storage facility. So these very intense uses, and he showed you those on an aerial, are moving in this area, following up on the SMU 6 and the intensity of not just this parcel, but the entire vicinity. These are the two locations that Mr. Hay referred you to. Ruskin Community Plan under Goal 2 refers to economic development to provide opportunities for business growth and jobs in the Ruskin community. Strategy, ensure there are appropriate land areas zoned for office and light industrial development. This would be an intensive site under OC 20. We believe that it meets this goal in the Ruskin Community Plan. Now, when you look at the uses in the area, directly across the street is Dixie Wrecking and Bowman's Wrecking, which are very intensive auto vehicle storage, recycling, all types of intensive vehicle modifications, you can see here, including a wrecker service. But I think what's critical, the second critical point, the first critical point is the intensity of the vicinity by future land use, also by the uses, but third critical point is that we have substantial support from virtually any of the impacted or nearby or abutting neighbors. And that is submitted to you by petition that were done door by door by the applicant, which really show you that when your report or your staff report indicates compatibility and cohesion or concerns about abutting owners, you have on record that they're supportive for the use. So with that, Mr. Chairman, board members, we appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We only had one individual sign up in the public comment for this one, and that's Johnny Soap. You have 3 minutes, sir.
All right, try to keep it brief. Just fortunate to have its overwhelming support of the community and what we're seeking there to exist. Been there 7 years. Maybe wasn't supposed to be, but we've been there 7 years with 0 complaints. Had a problem come up. I got with him the day after I found out, because I don't know nothing about all this stuff up here. So I got a hold of Todd here to help me through the situation the day after we found out. And we didn't realize it until we stopped getting mail. We called the post office and all, and that's what started it. And then when code come out, they're like, oh, no, man, this don't fit. And we addressed it. 0 complaints for 7 years. And he showed you briefly right there, but we have a lot. We actually went past that. We have them on 11th going on down and on the corner of 27th, the abutting church. Everyone's pulling for us so that we can continue to exist there as a cohesive. And I don't know if y'all been down there to Ruskin, other than seeing what you see here. It's different anyway, you know. So, but we're pushing through so I can stay in business, keep the guys I got going, and like it where I grew up and everything else for years, you know, Riverview, Ruskin area. So I don't know what else to say than we're asking for your help and to consider what Todd has showed you about you have to look and go ask. If you read the the petition, I had no problem getting them all signed other than catching some people at home. And we have them going past 27th and on down, so we got a lot of support, and then we got to step after y'all. We're looking for your help and support today. All right, I guess that's it.
Can you just say your name for the record, please?
Johnny Soap.
All right, thank you, sir. Did you want to make some comments in response, Mr. Pressman? It is your du jour.
I'll just say very quickly that we've had the zoning hearing, master hearing. I don't know if there's any here tonight, but no one has come forward in opposition. I'm not aware of any letters or emails that I recall coming in. Thank you.
Thank you.
In opposition.
All right. Thank you. Now over to our planning commissioners for questions, comments, discussions of this one. And I'll just remind everyone, if this ends up in an opposition to what staff has found the inconsistent finding, we are going to need some policies, objectives, some kind of something to attach to it there. So everybody be keeping that in mind as we go through our conversations here. Ms. Ornita.
I just feel compelled to reiterate that the land use category that they have today, the SMU 6 allows the use they want to do. So they don't have to change their land use category to do this use. I guess what the land use category change does is it does open up the possibility for 20 units per acre. And I understand what the applicant wants to do today, but we have to look at all the uses that can be considered under the land use category. And that's why, since the land use they have today allows what they want to do, we thought that was the appropriate land use category for them to have.
All right. Yeah, Commissioner Kugler.
Yeah, thank you for that point. That was great. It sounds to me like it was perhaps from Mr. Soap's comments that it was an issue with code enforcement of some sort that he risked having to shut down. And it sounds like perhaps that was premature or something happened there that shouldn't have happened as far as code enforcement. And that was what spurred the idea of going for another designation. Perhaps, was it a non-conforming use issue in this case?
Well, I mean, that may be a question for the applicant, but I think the question is what type of zoning remedy they choose to pursue. And maybe Mr. Pressman would choose, because under the SMU 6 category, they do, because of the size of their property, they are required to do a PD zoning. The Office Commercial 20 category does not require a PD, but, you know, it's trading off 20 units per acre potentially for that. But Mr. Pressman may want to answer that.
That was my question for you. I was going to have Mr. Pressman. Why not just do a PD?
Well, we had to make a decision on what to do. And when you have multiple uses, that requires, you can't do it Euclidean. But the uses that he had fit into CI, and then the uses that he was proposing and wanted to have do fit into the CI and bypassed the PD. And the PDs are very expensive to do. It would have to be done from scratch. And we had a lot of discussions about it, how we wanted to do it, and we just made the decision really to go this way.
All right. Are there any other questions, comments, thoughts from the commissioners? Not seeing a lot of excitement. Commissioner Lauk?
Is there a policy in place that prevents urban land uses extending beyond College Avenue in this area of Ruskin? Or is generally speaking, is that College Avenue a bright line
David Hay, Planning Commission staff. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
I'll read it the way I wrote it, just always lose myself here. So what is the clear long-term policy boundary that prevents urban land use from extending beyond College Avenue in the area of Ruskin, and why is this parcel on the wrong side of that line, despite being in the urban service area?
I don't think there's any policy restricting that urban development can't expand into Ruskin or, you know, further in. There is no like drawn line anywhere. But I think when staff looked at it, the physical constraints of being at the end of a road, and that the, you know, it may, you know, staff might have looked at differently if that north-south road existed, and that, but on the east side, but it isn't there. So when we were out there, we looked at the potential impact for, and I know this applicant is not pursuing a multifamily, but we have to look at all the potentials on it. The staff had to look at, is this appropriate to put it, to start basically an expansion at the end of a dead-end road instead of a more, maybe a logical transition of from College, maybe the parcels south of College Avenue, like
Right.
directly with a vehicular access from College, so it's not intruding into like an established neighborhood.
I'm surprised we keep referring to it as a dead-end road when an existing right-of-way exists. So if we were to change the land use designation from a long-term standpoint and some planned development were to happen, that right-of-way would be utilized and the developer would likely have to add some sort of access using that public right-of-way that exists today.
Well,
so to say it's a dead end, I don't know is necessarily accurate. It's there, it's designated for public use, and it can be expanded if the county would deem it so, and it's whatever zoning or whatever process takes place. So I don't know if it's necessarily accurate to say it's on a dead-end road.
Well, in our view, there's no documented plan anywhere within the county to improve that road.
Right.
There's also a question of whether it is actually wide enough to meet current standards for roadways under today's standards. So there may
The
be
right-of-way or the
additional.
road itself? Sorry to interrupt you, David. The
Excuse me?
right-of-way is not wide enough?
The
for
physical
standards?
right-of-way may not be
Okay.
wide
The
enough
physical right-of-way
to
is
fit
different.
the standard county road. So there, if the county found money and designated that as a long-term improvement, there may have to be property acquisition to get it to the appropriate size.
I heard a
So
lot of
when-
maze. Do we know for sure what that right-of-way exists? Because I don't want it in the staff report and staff telling us we're on a dead-end road when we have a public right-of-way that exists today, and if it did go to some sort of site plan and it went through a development process through the multitude of layers of the county with permits, and the developer pays for some of those upgrades, it's a road that exists today from a right-of-way standpoint. So do we know how wide that row is, or do we not?
I would have to look. I don't have, but when we measured it on our computer, it was about 30 feet.
Okay. I agree with you from an access standpoint and staff's finding, but when I hear that there's a public right-of-way that exists today and it's not a dead end as portrayed in the staff report, then it gives me some pause and makes me reconsider my initial thoughts on this.
We always look at the physical, actual roadways that are improved, and then we also look at any documented plans by the county for improvements. If it doesn't fall within one of those, staff usually interpret it as it's an unimproved right-of-way, so there's no access, current access to it. And when we describe it as a dead-end road, it's in staff's view, currently, is a dead-end road, yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Yes, Commissioner Seaven.
Mr. Pressman, just for everyone's information, could you do me a favor and explain why a PD is expensive or too cumbersome?
Well, I'll say again, we had a lot of discussion about it, but taking vacant land from scratch, without even a survey, there's just a tremendous cost with surveys, environmental, civil engineers. For a lot of people, it just gets cost prohibitive. So it was not an easy decision to make, but that's what we decided to do.
Are environmental reports and civil engineering required in order to apply for a PD?
Oh yeah. The PDs are going through month after month of review. The standards are very high. They just require a tremendous amount of planning and details.
What would you say, in your opinion, you've been doing this for a long time? It was the.
Say again, please.
What would you say, in your opinion, you've been doing this for a long time, is the cost, to a client, just for my own curiosity purposes? For
I mean,
a PD?
it could be anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000. Could be more.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions from the commissioners? Thoughts? No, I think his light's just on. Commissioner Kugler, you don't have a question, do you?
Oh,
just, yeah, no. Are there any other comments from the commissioners? Going once, going twice. Commissioner Linkus.
I guess I'm just going to note some of the agency comments, and in particular that the limited capacity that's present there now. It will be a concern for my decision.
All right. Are there any other comments from the commissioners? Going once. Go, Commissioner Bowden.
The thing that I heard and also read in the report that I know said he got the petition signed, but then and also know the area. There are a number of non-conforming businesses in those areas, so that kind of sways me to not want to overturn the staff's findings.
Okay. All right. Are there any other thoughts or statements, Commissioner Lau?
I'll just say this. I usually don't tip my hand these days, but I'm going to vote with staff on this. But I'll just say from a move forward standpoint, in the previous report to this, we noted a future road expansion on State Highway 60. We didn't talk specifically about that right-of-way that existed, and we're obviously charged with long-term vision here. And so when we look at roads that are adjacent and around it, I think it's appropriate to designate what they could be if we go through a full development process, and we were to blow this property out, and not hang maybe staff recommendations on a dead-end space that necessarily may not be a dead-end space. I think it's important to look at the holistic plan long-term and not just today, and make our decisions on what is there today. I agree that the access isn't right today. I agree that it is on a current dead-end road, but there is a public right-of-way that exists today that could be widened and serviced, and it's in the urban service area. So I think we may have just kind of missed the mark on that one, and I think it's important to think long-term around what that property is going to look like potentially 5, 10, 20 years, and not just what exists today.
Good points. A way to be brave and tip your hand, Commissioner Lau. It's a new you this year. All right. Are there any other comments, questions, thoughts, statements from the commissioners? Going once, going twice. Then I am going to close the public comment on this one and open it up to motions from the commissioners on this item. Commissioner Linkus.
I'll make a motion to find HC CPA 2530 inconsistent with the Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan.
Second motion.
All right. Which one of you? I heard two. Flip a coin over there. Commissioner Bowden. All right. Got a motion of inconsistency by Commissioner Linkus. A second to that motion by Commissioner Bowden. Any questions, comments, or statements from the commissioners before we take our vote? And
I would vote roll call, Mr. Chair.
okay. Then we'll just kick it on over to the clerk for a roll call vote on this one.
Bowden?
Yes.
Cardenas? Kona?
No.
Kugler?
Yes.
Linkus?
Yes.
Lauk?
Yes.
Sieben? Yes. Joseph?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-1. Commissioner Kona voted no.
All right. Yes, Commissioner Sieben.
I don't know that this is within our purview, but I like to do things that aren't within our purview necessarily. I find that the city and the county do tend to prefer PDs, I think, in certain circumstances, and I think there is some pressure, to pursue that path. I think Mr. Pressman's point is well made, that it's potentially burdensome for a lot of people in trying to do what they can with their land and create the highest and best use. I wonder if there's anything that can be researched that could provide us with some alternative standards potentially, or some, you know, flexibility in terms of what needs to be required to pursue a PD if this is the path that we're going to continue to want to take. And I just think that that's maybe something we could put some thought into, and maybe that's a recommendation to the city or the county to do some research on that. But I don't know if you guys have thought about that previously.
Like Ms. Ornita has an answer.
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that. Back in 2008, when we updated the plan then, there was a lot of discussion about the number of times that the plan called for a PD to occur, particularly in these mixed-use categories. And so we wrote in some language that allowed for and called for the county to establish standard zoning districts that aligned with the mixed-use land use categories. That was in 2008. When we updated the plan this last time in, what was that, we finished it in 24? They had not done that, so we took that language out. But we had the idea that the PD part of this would sunset back in 2008 because we recognize that PDs are more time and money and all of those things. So yes, we would be happy to have a conversation with the county about if there is a different approach as it relates to these categories. It is in the land development code that is the size threshold that is 2 acres. We have a different threshold in the plan for when it is required that they actually do a mix of uses on the site that's much higher. So that could be a possibility to increase the size threshold. So smaller developments like this property would not be required to do a PD. I mean, there are a lot of different ideas that come to mind. So at any rate, yes, we'd be happy to explore that.
I'd also like to make that recommendation that we maybe consider that for the city as well.
So my understanding is that the city, as part of their land development code rewrite, is very actively looking at that. We have not seen any of the drafts of that code, but I think that was one of their goals of that rewrite, was to reduce the reliance on the PD process.
Is there anyone here from the city who could speak to that tonight?
Not tonight, because there aren't any city items.
Okay.
But we could talk to them about that as well.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
All righty. Anyone else? No? Okay. Then we will thank everybody for their information. Mr. Soap, you still have one more stop at the final decision makers, so make sure you show up to the Board of County Commissioners at that point in time. This isn't the final, so you still got more to go. So, all right. Next up, we have item 2D, HCCPA 25-31. Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment 12780, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and 2922 Shady Acres Road, and the presenter is Tyreek Royal.
Good evening, everyone. Tyreek Royal, Planning Commission staff, and today I'll be presenting HCCPA 2531 at 12780 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and 2922 Shady Acres Road. This request is privately initiated, small-scale map amendment with approximately 4.45 acres. The request is to change the land use designation from residential 1 to light industrial. The location of the site, it's in the eastern portion of unincorporated Hillsborough County. It's within the rural area and within the limits of the Sefton Mango Community Plan. This is the aerial photo of the site outlined in pink. It's located north of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. The surrounding area exhibits a mix of land uses. Nearby development includes single-family and mobile home parks, as well as a corridor along MLK that contains several long-established industrial, commercial, and utility-related uses. A railroad track runs parallel to MLK. To the east of the subject site is a U-Haul rental facility, vehicle storage area, and RV storage with repair operations. Further east is Tampa Bay Fisheries. Directly west of the site is a public communications tower. These are photo views looking towards the subject site. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard is behind the camera. This is looking towards MLK. The subject site is behind the camera, and you can see the CSX railroad track in the view. And this is looking towards Shady Acres and MLK. The subject site is to the left. The site is in the Res 1 future land use category. It allows for the consideration of agricultural, farms, ranches, residential, neighborhood commercial, offices, multi-purpose projects. Commercial uses are subject to locational criteria. The area designated as light industrial further east along MLK is Tampa Bay Fisheries. You can see that here. It has been in operation for nearly 30 years. The applicant is requesting to change the future land use category from Res 1 to LI. The LI allows for consideration for agricultural, light industrial uses, such as processing, manufacturing, recycling, and storage of materials as a predominant use, including support offices, warehousing, and retail uses. Here's the impacts. The proposed amendment would eliminate any potential residential density and allow for higher commercial intensity. The density of one dwelling unit per gross acre would be eliminated, and the commercial intensity would increase from a 0.25 FER, or approximately 48,000 square feet, to a 0.75 FER, or approximately 145,000 square feet. We sent this out for agency review, and we received comments from the Hillsborough County Community Infrastructure Planning Department, which commented that based on traffic analysis, there is not adequate capacity to accommodate the additional trips, except for the segment on MLK from Valrico Road to McIntosh Road. The Hillsborough County Office of Emergency Management commented that the proposed amendment does not align with the goals and objectives outlined in the Hillsborough County Local Mitigation Strategy. Comments mentioned concerns for public drinking water risks of contamination from residential to light industrial land uses. The following policies were considered by Planning Commission staff in the evaluation of this amendment. And Planning Commission staff has reviewed the proposed application and found it to be inconsistent based on the goals, objectives, and policies of the Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, including Objective 1.2 relating to development pattern expected in the rural area. The rural area is intended to accommodate long-term agricultural uses, large lot residential development, and the preservation of undeveloped natural areas. While specific non-rural future land use categories may exist in the rural area, the proposed amendment to light industrial will significantly increase the maximum intensive commercial and industrial development potential beyond what is typically contemplated in areas that are more rural in nature. Blue Objective 4.4 and its accompanying policies require new development to be compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. Although light industrial uses exist further east and a communication tower are located to the west, the predominant land use pattern surrounding the subject site consists of single-family residential and agricultural uses. The requested LI designation would not complement or appropriately integrate with the existing rural character. Flu Policy 4.8.1 requires high-intensity, non-residential development be located external to emerging and established residential neighborhoods and accessed by arterial or collector roadways. While the subject's property has frontage along MLK, which is an arterial roadway, the site is not external to residential neighborhood. And with that, Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed map amendment, HGCPA 2531, be found inconsistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comp Plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation?
Bear with me 1 second, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. Todd Pressman, 200 2nd Avenue South, number 451, St. Petersburg. This is HCCPA 25-31 with a companion 25-1281. We're located in the general Seffner Dover area, as you can see here, on MLK Junior Boulevard, a little closer. We are located east of Elway Road and west of McIntosh Road on 574. And this is as the property appraiser has it along MLK Boulevard. Site is actually composed of two parcels, both under the same ownership. The issues are Res 1 to LI. Again, there's a zoning companion from AS1 to CI. The site is approximately 4.45 acres. When you look at the zoning map of the area, you see that it is intensive. The site is designated in white, a site. You have a CI type zoning use on one side, and you have a CG zoning, CN zoning, PDC, which is a commercial zoning, older designation, and two manufacturing categories. The actual existing use is a radio tower complex abutting, and then there are a number of truck uses, which I'll show you by photos, that extend to the east. And the Planning Commission recognizes this in the report to you. They tell you that it is a site that is a corridor along Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard that does contain several long-established industrial, commercial, and utility-related uses, and that a railroad line parallels the boulevard. When you look at the future land use mapping, you have LIP on one side and LI to the other side, not abutting, of course, but on either side of the site before you. And this is substantiation of the PDC for the commercial use on one of those zoning categories I showed you, which allows a wide range of commercial uses. Now, importantly, abutting on the west was a special use approval 070326, which is and referred to as a radio tower farm is sometimes what it was referred to. But the Planning Commission notes in regard to that use again abutting on the west is that is a site for public communication towers, which are typically located adjacent to or within higher intensity commercial or industrial areas due to their infrastructure requirements. So approval abutting west is a very intensive use already. And at that time, the Planning Commission, Development Services, and ZHM all approved that use. And now we're looking abutting east. So you can see we have a very intensive trucking use to the east. This is right across that small Shady Hills Road. And then existing on CG, the next eastward would be this site, again, another trucking use. And existing on CG, eastward again, is this trucking and U-Haul retail use. So again, on the zoning map, you see that intensity. On the other side of the street is the CXX railroad track, a railroad corridor, which runs along the roadway. You can see it here. And the Planning Commission notes again, a railroad track runs along MLK Jr. Boulevard, reflecting the area's role as a transportation and service corridor. So it is a very intensive corridor. On traffic counts, it's between 14,000 and 11,000 a day. It is part of the truck route plan for Hillsborough County. And I think it's important, this slide is not titled well. Let me explain what this slide is saying. When we came in for rezoning for the site, Planning Commission made a recommendation. I think it's very important, the findings of the Planning Commission on the rezoning at that time, which is that development relates to the predominant character of the surroundings. It's a reasonable, compatible fit. So already surrounded by a mix of higher intensity uses. Goal 3 of the community plan directs commercial development towards US 92 and Martin Luther King Boulevard corridors, and they found it compatible. They're referring to Sefner Mango Community Plan Goal 3, specifically that commercial development should be directed to Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, which is exactly what we're on, which is a very intensive roadway, and as your staff indicates, is a very intensive corridor along with the railroad track. Goal 3, commercial development should be directed to it and encourage revitalization and development of older existing commercial areas and uses, which I think is this area. We also have developed significant support for the request with these petitions, as you can see here, signed by the property owners, which relates to virtually all of the abutting owners and a few more of the site. And again, on the other site is the radio tower farm, which is the intensive use. So the site is surrounded either by supporters or intensive zoning or intensive use. So that, Mr. Chairman and board members, we appreciate your attention. Ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We didn't have anyone sign up in the public comment for this one, so I will turn it over to the commissioners for questions, comments, discussions, and a reminder on this one also that if we're going to overturn staff's inconsistence or vote in opposition to staff's inconsistent, we're definitely going to need some policies, objectives, goals, possibly from community plans. Yes, Commissioner Lauk.
Question for staff. Regardless of this application, do we feel like the adopted future land use of Res 1 is appropriate for this area today? And I don't just mean this parcel, but I mean this corridor.
So there is a commercial corridor along MLK. I think it's important to note that the specific use of commercial is allowed in the Res 1. And I think a change to light industrial is too intense of a future land use category, especially with the current development pattern that we see in this area, specifically in the rural area.
Ms. Zornita.
The only other thing that I would add, because I think that's a really good point that Tyreek makes, that the residential categories do allow non-residential uses like offices and commercial along a corridor like this. But is that this area is a part of the urban expansion area that we're studying. So it is probably an area that over time will transition in some way. We just haven't completed the study to determine how.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments on this one? Yeah, Commissioner Kugler.
Yes, it's just a thought, and this is probably farther into the future, but a lot of our comp plan does look far into the future. And the thought is that at some point, Tampa's expanding, Plant City's expanding, and they're expanding toward each other. At what point does Tampa swallow up Plant City or vice versa? If we don't think ahead and start to create other corridors that provide a separation of space. So, you know, maybe you don't notice it in one moment, but at a certain point you lose enough of this, and then you see that you've lost the identity of the different communities. And that's I think part of why our comp plan exists, is to keep those stabilities in place to some extent and manage growth.
Good thoughts. Commissioner Linkus.
Yeah, I would just say that's an excellent point, and I think it builds on what Ms. Zornita said, because I think that this area is likely to change, and a careful look in the future, that a comprehensive study and a comprehensive approach is probably what is called for in this area.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments, thoughts on this one from the planning commissioners? Commissioner Lauk, I see you moving.
I guess I didn't make a point last time I asked the question. The point I would make on this is the market is telling us exactly what this area should be, because it is what it is today. When you see the uses up and down this heavily traveled corridor with the railroad tracks, Res 1 is certainly not the appropriate long-term land use category for this. We can argue whether it should be an industrial or a commercial overlay, but where we sit today is not the appropriate place. And I think we really do need to take a long-term look at this area, and I'm glad it's part of the plan.
Mr. Pressman, I see you moving over there. You had some thoughts?
Just to respond, if I can go back to the PowerPoint. So just to, I'm looking for the one, here it is. I do want to remind you that there is LI to the east and there's LI to the west. And I think in regard to some of the comments that were made, I think the community plan policy, as indicated in the rural area, but I think it's very important to note that Sefner Community Plan notes 2 corridors that commercial and more intensive should be directed to. And I think I just say that in response to some of the comments, some of the good comments I heard from the board. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No problem. Mr. Pressman, it's funny, in my briefing, that map that you put up there is exactly the point I made to Mrs. Zornita. I was like, there's industrial here, there's industrial there, there's a little bit of industrial there, so it kind of looks like it should. And then we had the same discussion about where it directs that sort of stuff right to MLK. So I made almost the exact same points you're making here in my briefing. And I also found staff's decision a little bit strange, but staff will be staff, so.
Well, I would say great minds think alike.
Yeah.
I think alike, Mr. Chairman.
All right, are there any more questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, opinions from the commissioners? Again, remember, if we're making a motion in opposition to staff or different from staffs, we're going to need some policies, objectives, something to go with it. So keep that in mind. And going once, going twice on the commentary, I will close the public comment then and open it up to motions from the commissioners on this item. Commissioner Kona.
Which one are we on? I'm sorry. We're on E?
D, yeah.
On D. Okay, sorry. I put my check down too soon. I'll make a motion to find HC CPA 2531 consistent with the comprehensive plan based on the Sefner Mango Community Plan Goal number 3.
Second.
Are we okay with just one goal, Tracy, or do we usually want to have at least a couple, or two?
One will do the
one
job,
All right.
but if you have others, you would be encouraged to use all of those that apply.
Okay. All right, one's good. That's a good one because it directs it to MLK there for the community plan, the smallest scale. So, all right. So we have a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Kona citing goal 3 of the Sefner community plan. All right. Is there a second out there anywhere? Commissioner Lau?
I'll second again.
All right. We have a second to that. Oh, did you second already? Sorry. All right. So we have a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Kona, a second to that by Commissioner Lau citing goal 3 of the Sefner community plan. And I'm just going to send it right on over to the clerk for a roll call on this one.
Bowden,
Yes.
Cardenas,
Yes.
Kona,
Yes.
Kugler,
Yes.
Linkus,
No.
Lauk,
Yes.
Sieben, Joseph.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-1. Commissioner Linkus voted no.
All righty. Thank you very much for the information and the time, and we will move on to our next agenda item, which is 2E HCCPA 25-33, Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment, College Avenue and 18th Street Southeast, and the presenter is Willow Mickey.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Willow Mickey with Planning Commission staff. I'm here to present HCCPA 25-33, located at College Avenue and 18th Street Southeast. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 19.53 acres. The applicant is requesting to change the future land use category from suburban mixed use 6 to residential 12. Here is the general location map. The site is in the urban service area and is within the limits of the Ruskin Community Plan and the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan. Here is an aerial photo of the site outlined in pink. It is located north of East College Avenue, west of 21st Street Southeast, and south of East Shell Point Road. Within the vicinity of the site, there are single-family residential uses to the west, north, and east, and mobile home park uses to the west. East of the site, there is vacant land that is owned by TECO, and further east of that, there is a parcel with heavy commercial uses that operates as an auto repair shop. To the south of the site, across East College Avenue, there is vacant land, agricultural land, light commercial, and heavy commercial parcels. Here we have some site photos. This photo is looking at the site from 18th Street Southeast in East College Avenue intersection. The site is on the right. In this photo, we are looking down 18th Street Southeast, and the site is on the left. This is looking at the law office directly across from the site on 18th Street Southeast. This is looking down 3rd Avenue Southeast, site is on the right. And this photo is looking onto the residential that is adjacent to the site, and the site is to the right. The site is in the SMU 6 future land use category. This category allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, research corporate park uses, light industrial multipurpose, and clustered residential indoor mixed use. Office uses are not subject to locational criteria. Surrounding land use categories include SMU 6 on all sides of the subject site, with residential 6 to the northwest and residential 4 located further south on the south side of 11th Avenue Southeast. There is public, quasi-public located north of the site on the north side of East Shell Point Road. While not shown on this particular map, there is residential 12 located approximately 1 mile west of the site along East College Avenue, and commercial mixed-use 12 located further east near the I-75 corridor. This slide, the request is to change the site to residential 12, which allows for the consideration of uses such as agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, multi-purpose projects, and mixed-use development. This slide outlines the potential impacts of the requested land use change. Currently under SMU 6, the site can be considered for up to 117 dwelling units and 425,363 square feet of non-residential. The change to residential 12 would allow for the consideration of 234 dwelling units and 425,363 square feet of non-residential uses. The proposed amendment would allow for an increase in development potential by allowing higher residential density. This proposal has been reviewed by the commenting agencies, which you can find in your packet under the agency review section. There were no objections. However, the Hillsborough County Fire Rescue Department commented that this amendment may have a significant impact on Hillsborough County fire rescue response times due to the number of potential dwellings and increase in traffic patterns. The Community and Infrastructure Planning Department commented that based on the traffic analysis, there will be adequate capacity to accommodate the additional trips generated by the proposed flue on all impacted roadway segments, except for a few segments that are located east of the site along State Road 674. While formatting our recommendations, PC staff reviews all related policies regarding the proposed request. Though the request is related to several general policies, staff found 9 main areas of consistency. The proposed amendment is consistent with the following objectives and policies of the comprehensive plan. Loose Objective 1.1 and Policy 1.1.5 relate to the urban service area. Objective 2.2 and Policy 2.2.1 pertain to the future land use categories that establish permitted land uses. The proposed uses for the site align with the Res 12 category and is consistent with these policies. Objective 2.3 and Policy 2.3.9 outline the utilization of density and intensity requirements to encourage growth in efficient and predictable patterns throughout Hillsborough County. The proposed amendment from SMU 6 to Res 12 would allow for a residential density that is compatible with nearby development and appropriate for the surrounding land use context. The proposal is also consistent with Objective 3.1 and its associated policies related to compatibility. The proposed Res 12 designation is compatible with surrounding land uses in the evolving character of the College Avenue corridor, from largely low-density residential and agricultural uses to a more integrated mix of residential, commercial, and community mixed-use development. Objective 4.4 and Policy 4.4.1 emphasize the importance of enhancing and preserving the existing neighborhoods and communities. The uses that are permitted within the Res 12 category are complementary with and are generally similar to the uses that exist currently surrounding the site. This land use is expected to effectively integrate with the surrounding area and provide appropriate transitions of use, ensuring that the development will be cohesive with the region and support the development pattern along the corridor. Objective 6.3 encourages clustering to ensure that development will occur in a manner that protects existing natural resources and retains the character and the ability to maintain the areas surrounding those natural resources. The proposed Res 12 category would support this approach by allowing the development to be concentrated on the upland portions of the site and therefore protecting the natural resources on the property. Policy 1.2.3, the mobility section, prioritizes projects that enhance multimodal access to parks, recreation, healthcare, healthy food, better jobs, schools, and other community elements. This policy is supported by the proposed request as the development site location along a major transportation corridor would provide access to a wide range of amenities and services. The proposal is also supported by the housing section, which promotes a variety of housing options, infill development within the USA, and housing that is well served by transportation infrastructure and services. The Ruskin Community Plan has the intent of uses in the north. The proposal supports the plan by aligning with the intent of uses in the Northeast Ruskin Character District, by allowing cluster development, which preserves the on-site wetlands while still achieving the desired residential density, and by aligning with the desired uses along College Avenue. With that, Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. That concludes my presentation. I'm here for any questions.
All right. Does the applicant have a presentation?
I was like,
yeah. They pulled these up for me, so I don't know if I find it. Okay.
I think it's that one.
Okay.
Does that look correct?
Alex Shaler, 400 North Ashley Drive. Here with the plan amendment request, I'll skip some of these locational details out of respect for everyone's time. I did just want to note that because this is the aerial is a little bit zoomed in, but this site is just 1.5 miles from I-75, so really close to an amendment that you all saw earlier this evening. It's just under 20 acres. Again, there's a wide range of uses there. There's single-family residential, there's commercial, and then some mobile home parks as well. This title bar incorrectly references Res 9, but this request is to Res 12. The table is correct, so we're essentially requesting an increase in the amount of density. In all transparency, we started out with CMU 12 as a request for the site. After some discussion with staff, I think there was maybe a concern about an increase in FAR with the CMU 12, so we ended up switching to Res 12 so that that FAR ceiling stays at 0.5, which is what's allowed today. In terms of permitted uses, essentially the same categories for the most part that are allowed today, so the main difference there is just an increase in the density. We had a host of justification points in our project narrative, but I've only highlighted a couple this evening for you all that we feel are significant. The first, and this was mentioned in staff's report as well, but we have a pretty significant wetland footprint on this site. The assemblage is outlined there in yellow, and you can see the wetland footprint in green. And we feel that strategic development respects those natural resources. And so with an increase in density, as mentioned in staff's report, we could cluster that density on the upland area and do our best to minimize any impacts to the wetlands. The next point is in regards to housing, and again, this was touched on a little bit earlier in one of the presentations before, but College Avenue has seen an explosion of growth kind of in recent years, and so there's been some new employment centers that have popped up there and come online, and as a result of that, people need a place to live that work there. The Moffitt facility was already mentioned earlier this evening, but that's a 75,000 square foot ambulatory cancer center that provides a host of services there on site. And there's also some large scale distribution, logistics, fulfillment centers in the area. There's an Amazon fulfillment center. It's 1.3 million square feet, just under 2 miles northeast of the site. So this area is employing a lot of the residents of Hillsborough County. And I think this is a great aerial to show. It's a little bit more zoomed out. You can see kind of in this picture that there's a decent footprint of single-family homes and some single-family residential neighborhoods, but as you can see just from a quick glance, I think this area is missing kind of that piece in the middle of multifamily density. Again, I mean, not everybody is in that same demographic and purchasing a home, and so I think that it's important for us to have some of those higher density residential categories in the area so that we can provide apartments and rental housing there as well. So I know that staff went through a really glowing consistency report with a lot of different policies and objectives. These were pulled from the staff report, and did want to conclude with, as Willow mentioned, that staff found this application consistent. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, but that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. All right, we didn't have anyone sign up in the public comment for this one, so I will turn it over to the planning commissioners for questions, comments, discussions, thoughts on this one. Everybody seems pretty satisfied. All right, going once, going twice. I'm going to close the public comment on this one and open it up to motions from the commissioners. Commissioner Laut.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Move we find CPA 25-33 consistent with the Hillsborough comprehensive plan and forward to the Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
All right, we got a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Laut, a second to that by Commissioner Kugler. Any questions, comments from the commissioners before we take our vote? And would all signify their agreement by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. That was an easy one. All right. Next up, we have item number 2F, HCCPA 25-34, Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment, 8400 West Waters Avenue, and the presenter is, again, Willow Mickey.
Good evening, Willow Mickey with Planning Commission staff. I'm here to present HCCPA 2534, located at 8400 West Waters Avenue. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 41.92 acres. The applicant is requesting to change the future land use category from residential 9 to residential 16. Here is the general location map. The site is in the urban service area and within the limits of the Town and Country Community Plan. Here is an aerial photo of the site, outlined in pink. It is located north of West Waters Avenue, west of Pinehurst Drive, and east of Sheldon Road. The surrounding area is primarily single-family residential, with multifamily residential uses immediately to the east. The Upper Tampa Bay Watershed lies to the west and northwest, with additional mobile home park uses on the west side. Light commercial uses are located to the south and southeast of the site, along both sides of West Waters Avenue, as well as to the west around the intersection of Sheldon Road and West Waters Avenue. Here we have some photos of the site. This is looking at the entrance from West Waters Avenue. This photo is looking onto the site further down from the entrance, still from West Waters Avenue. And then this is looking at the second entrance on the site further down. This is a photo looking at the Tampa Family Health Center that is approximately 600 feet to the left of the site. And here we're looking at retail across the street from the site, approximately 350 feet from the site. The site is in the Res 9 future land use category. This category allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, multi-purpose projects, and mixed-use development. Surrounding land use categories include the Res 9 category, located to the east and west of the subject site, with Res 12 further to the west. To the east, beyond the Res 9, are Office Commercial 20 and Residential 20 categories. Residential 6 surrounds the site to the north, northeast, and northwest, while Residential 4 and Residential 2 are located south of the site. The request is to change the site to Residential 16, which allows for the consideration of uses such as agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, multi-purpose projects, and mixed-use development. This slide outlines the potential impacts of the requested land use change. Currently, under Res 9, the site can be considered for up to 377 dwelling units and 913 and 17 square feet of non-residential. The change to Residential 16 would allow for the consideration of 670 dwelling units and 913 and 17 square feet of non-residential. The proposed amendment would allow for an increase in development potential by allowing higher residential density. This proposal has been reviewed by the commenting agencies, which you can find in your packet under the agency review section. There were no objections. However, the Hillsborough County Fire Rescue Department commented that this amendment would have a significant impact on response times, as the area currently has a high call volume. The Community and Infrastructure Planning Department commented that based on the traffic analysis, there will not be adequate capacity on most of the analyzed roadway segments. And the Office in Emergency Management commented that the amendment raises concerns regarding the placement of hundreds of additional residents in an area with highly vulnerable to storm surge, which would increase evacuation demand, traffic congestion, and place further strain on shelter capacity. While formulating our recommendation, PC staff reviews all related policies regarding the proposed request. Though the request is related to several general policies, staff found 8 main areas of consistency. The proposed amendment is consistent with the following objectives and policies of the comprehensive plan. Objective 1.1 and policy 1.1.3 relate to the urban service area and encourage medium and high density residential and mixed use development within the USA to be located along designated centers and connections, which the site is partially within. Objective 2.2 and policy 2.2.1 pertain to the future land use categories that establish permitted land uses. The proposed uses for the site align with the Res 12 category and is consistent with these policies. Objective 2.4 and 2.5, along with their associated policies, outline the center and connections section. The proposal meets these by encouraging higher residential density within these areas and providing diverse housing types. The proposal is also consistent with FLUS Objective 3.1 and its associated policies related to compatibility. The proposed Res 6 future land use category is compatible with the current development pattern that is seen within the vicinity of the site and would formally recognize the residential use that currently exists on the site. Objective 4.3.5 and 4.3.12 relate to the coastal high hazard area, specifically that mobile home parks are not permitted in the CHHA. The request is consistent with these policies as all portions of the site that were originally located within the CHHA have been removed from the CPA request. Objective 4.4 and policy 4.4.1 emphasize the importance of enhancing and preserving the existing neighborhoods and communities. The uses that are permitted within the Res 16 category would complement and appropriately integrate with the established residential character of the adjacent land uses. And lastly, objectives 1.1 and 1.2 and the associated policies in the housing section support a range of housing options to affordably meet the needs of current and future residents. Specifically, manufactured and mobile homes shall be acknowledged as a viable means to provide affordable housing. Goal 3 of the Town and Country Community Plan focuses on strengthening code enforcement efforts. A high level of code enforcement is desired within the Town and Country area, making this request to bring the current development up to code standards consistent with this goal. With that, Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. And that concludes my presentation. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation?
Here we go. Yep, I got it. Thank you. Commissioners, good evening. Jake Kramer with Barbas Kramer. I'm going to start the application because I think there's some members in the public here that are here for this application. The purpose of this application is to make sure that the people who live on this property can remain on the property. It's an unusual application. I've never seen a fact pattern quite like this. This property, as David will hopefully give us the short version of the history in a minute, this property has over the years been permitted in different ways. Currently, it's permitted as an ALF. The concern or the problem arose when the ALF on the property closed. With ALFs, we count the persons on the property, but now we have units. So now when the ALF closed, now the property is being measured by units under the current land development code. So our only goal here is to make sure the property is brought into the modern standards of the comp plan and the land development code. We have filed a PD. That's in process. We've just recently gotten our DRC or our initial round of comments back from staff. So we're working that through with them. And just big picture, again, we're asking for Res 16. We feel like even if you took all of the grandfathering issues and keeping the people that live there now, keeping them in place, we still think it's a reasonable request because as you can see, there's OC 20 and R20 just a stone's throw away from this property. So with that, I'll let David give you the short version of the tortured history of this property and a little bit of planning context. Thank you.
Good morning. David Smith, Director of Development and Zoning for Stearns Weaver Miller. Jake emphasized short version, so I'll try to make it short. This property has been under development since 1970. 1975 was a mobile home park. 1984, older units were replaced with larger units and structures to support the community. A portion was started to be converted to an ALF when those ALF really started to come into vogue in that period of time. 1987, single mobile homes were converted to quad and triplex units, and the count increased to 338 with several units designated as multifamily ALF units and had the R3MH and mobile home RV park designation. 1990, zoning conformance, many of you are familiar with. It came in to be updated. This site got a zoning conformance designation, allowing it to have 1,901 placed persons, or a mix of uses, including mobile homes under the R3MH standards. And that is where really the issues started to come up. 2006, an ALF building, special purpose built, stick built, 56 beds was added to the property. 2013 was rezoned again. County property became available immediately adjacent. There was no other really reasonable purchaser for it. It was added to the site. At that time, they recognized the ALF use. They also recognized the individual grandfathering of kitchens and individual units. That is actually the key issue. Under the comprehensive plan, you can have 5 placed persons equals 1 dwelling unit. Under the land development code back in the 80s, the whole issue of, or actually 90s, the whole issue of if you have a kitchen, you were a dwelling unit. But in ALFs, they started allowing kitchens. So they grandfathered the ALF units that basically had a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen, and That also contributed to the situation we have today. 2020, ALF closes, COVID outbreak, very expensive proposition. Insurance today is very expensive for ALFs. Reintroduction is now expected. And we filed this comp plan amendment to rezone and do a plan amendment to bring the property into compliance. Graphically, here's the aerial history. You can basically see over time what I described. Probably from 1987 on, not a whole lot changed on the site other than the stick-built ALF building being put in place. Here's the future land use map presented by staff already. It's R9, looking to go to R16. There's an existing PD that I discussed. And really the whole issue comes down to, under today's standards, with the individual kitchens and individual units, we have 669 dwelling units on site. Under the comprehensive plan today, without the ALF, we would only be allowed the 300 plus that staff mentioned. The plan amendment, as noted, is only for the portion of the site outside the coastal high hazard area. So there's about 3 more acres of Res 9 in the overall development, but that's not the subject of review. So what we're trying to do is put a plan category on it that allows the 669 existing dwelling units to be recognized, allow the residents to remain there under compliant development without risk of having to be moved based upon code enforcement actions that would be placed. This is really the only solution to this situation. Consistency with the comprehensive plan, like before, we've cited only a few. Staff has come up with many policies. We're in the urban service area. We have central water and sewer. There's HART route, bus route in front of us. Matter of fact, there's a bus stop already existing with shelter. A portion of the property in CHA was removed to be consistent with that policy. Centers and connections, this is already a corridor designated where higher density residential uses are proposed. I think I can't emphasize many more times is that nothing's really changing on this site. It's a developed mobile home park that has multifamily rental units in a modular home setting and individual mobile home spaces. And so the entire intent and purpose of this is to recognize what it is. The zoning is trying to recognize what is there and the configuration it's in to allow the residents to remain. With that, I'll turn it back over to Jake for the community meeting we held.
Thank you. Jake Kramer again. I'm putting in the record a summary of our community open house. This just occurred last week, and we finished it today, so we didn't have time to upload it, but we will do that tomorrow. I did want to let you all know we did get a lot of calls about this because people were understandably scared when they got this letter that these things were going on. We had a community meeting. We had multiple Spanish language translators there. We also had our whole team there to answer questions. Had really good turnout, really good feedback. We got some feedback on improvements that the owner can make to the property. By and large, the people, once they understood we're doing this so that we don't have to make changes, we got very positive feedback. So with that, I'll close. Staff, again, is supporting this in frankly, probably the most robust staff report that I've seen in a long time. Staff worked really hard on this one. It's a very long report. So with that, we're here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We had 2 individuals only sign up in the public comment for this item, so I will see if they are on the line. They signed up virtually. I'm looking for a Pamela Conrad or a Mark Conrad.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, please, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
I reside in the River Oaks Estate. It is east-west, and you actually have it listed as the second entrance. It is not an entrance to that Rocky Creek Village. There are two roads that lead into there. The agreement was that one of them would be used for trucks, and the other one would stay closed, because we have 3 streets, and we've been here since 1960. adding that much traffic to our area is going to be a lot. We barely get out of our neighborhood now. As it is, we can't go left. We have to make a right, go to the light, make a U-turn, try not to get killed. So the fear is the amount of traffic you're going to add. Can the owners sell this property and build apartment complexes? Would that not be something they could do at a later time? So our concern is for the resources that are going to be strapped and for the transportation and the roads that are already not the best. So I have no problem with them staying there. That's their home. That doesn't bother me. It's how is it going to affect our neighborhood and our ability to get in and out?
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry. My husband said something about his concern was for the resources for the fire department and you know, all of the other resources that we need.
All right, was that? Well, I guess that's it.
That's it.
All right, thank you. All right, that's all we had signed up in the public comment for this one, so I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Kramer. 3-minute response.
Thank you, David Smith, for the record. A couple things. One, again, going back to my original theme, 669 dwelling units are there today. 669 units are proposed in the after. So essentially the traffic patterns that are experienced for the last, I won't say 50 years, but for at least last 30 years are expected to be the same patterns. Also, when the agencies reviewed this, they reviewed it as a totally new development. So when they say there's no capacity on the road, well, these cars are already on the road. The fire department and the sheriff's department, I reached out to them in the last 5 years. There have been like 22 calls to this in 5 years. And the sheriff's department had 17, of which 8 were referred to fire rescue, so they're double counted. So I think when you look at this, the concerns of the community relative to additional impacts, really nothing is proposed to change with this proposal from what they see today. The numbers on the map, you know, the letter designation, the colors that show up on the land use plan, that's all that's going to be out there. Also, the access point that staff pointed out as a second access, correct. There's only we're not doing the zoning, but that road only leads to the emergency fire and service access. That is not the resident access. The only access we have is on Waters Avenue, and that's the main entrance. So there will not be additional traffic in that neighborhood. I'll leave it, Jake.
Thank you, Jake Kramer again, and this is again really for the benefit of the public who aren't land use nerds like us who do this every day. The reason we filed that PD was so that anyone in the public can look at the same document we're looking at, the same document that your staff and county staff looks at, and they can see in the plan exactly what we're keeping, and it's everything that's there today. And that's all in written conditions. We've committed to your staff and to county staff that we will not take this application to a hearing unless it's together with that PD. So again, our team is here if y'all have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Over to the commissioners for questions, comments. Commissioner Kugler.
Yes, please. Mr. Kramer and Mr. Smith also mentioned that the coastal high hazard area was removed from the request, and you didn't mention a lot of sandbags. What did you actually do to remove the coastal high hazard from the request?
It's a semantics issue. 44-acre piece of property or 45-acre piece of property, the coastal high hazard area is about 2.4 acres. So our request for a comp plan amendment is for Res 16 only on a portion of the site that is outside the coastal high hazard area. There's a portion of the site still in the coastal high hazard area, and it's capped at the density that it can have now. By the way, we're not proposing any residential units when the zoning is heard in that portion of the site.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Are there any other questions, comments, thoughts on this one from the planning commissioners? Not seeing a lot of excitement here, so I will go on ahead, going once, going twice, close the public comment on this one, and open it up to motions from the planning commissioners on this item. Commissioner Kona.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very familiar with this area, I live probably a couple miles away from it, so I appreciate the staff's work in this. I think this is a good solution to a very complex challenge. So I'm going to move that we approve HCCPA 2534 and find it consistent with the comprehensive plan.
And I second.
All right, we got a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Kona, a second to that motion by Commissioner Kugler. Questions, comments, statements from the commissioners before we take our vote? Then would all signify their agreement by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries unanimously. All right, on to our next item of business. 2G HCCPA 25-35 Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment 6210 County Road 579 Urban Service Area Expansion. And the presenter is Alexis Myers.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. Alexis Myers, Planning Commission staff. I'm here to present HCCPA 2535 located at 6210 County Road 579 for the Urban Service Area Expansion. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 34 acres. The applicant is requesting to expand the urban service area. This amendment is associated with HCCPA 2536, which is a request to change the future land use category from residential 4 to suburban mixed use 6. This is the general location map. As I mentioned, this amendment is associated with HCCPA 2536. It is in the rural area and within the limits of the Tonota-Sassa Community Plan. It is located north of East Lye Avenue and west of County Road 579. Here is the area of the site. The site is outlined in pink, and the blue line indicates the urban service area boundary. The subject property is the Lazy Days RVs of Tampa. The site has wetlands and is in the evacuation zone E and FEMA flood zone X. There is RV uses and agriculture to the west. Single-family uses are to the north and west. The Hillsborough Heights landfill is directly east across County Road 579. Industrial uses are to the north. And lastly, there are commercial uses to the north and south, just within the urban service area. Here's some photos. This is looking onto the subject site from County Road 579. And this is also looking onto the property from County Road 579. This is looking west of the subject site from County Road 579. And then this is looking east from the subject site. And then this is directly east, which is the Hillsborough Heights landfill. Next are the impacts. This amendment would bring 34 acres into the urban service area, requiring at a minimum connection to public water and sewer. The following policies were considered by Planning Commission staff in evaluation of the amendment. While formulating our recommendation, PC staff reviews all related policies regarding the proposed request. Though the request is related to several general policies, staff found 6 main areas of consistency. The proposed amendment is consistent with the following objectives and policies of the comprehensive plan. The county's comprehensive plan requires that proposed amendments to the urban service area demonstrate that certain criteria are met before an expansion into the USA can occur. The request met the criteria outlined in future land use section, objective 1.1 and policy 1.1.9. The subject site is immediately adjacent and contiguous to the urban service area, which is directly south of the property. The Lazy Days RVs of Tampa Supercenter includes property located to the south, identified as folio number 62934.0000, a portion of which lies within the urban service area. Additionally, the request is consistent with objective 1.3 and policy 1.3.2 as the property is located within the area identified by the Hillsborough County Planning 2050 projections, the kernel density analysis, as having the potential to accommodate higher density development, further supporting the appropriateness of the requested changes. Objective 3.1 directs that new development recognizes the existing community and be designed in a manner that is compatible to the established character of the surrounding neighborhood, as further defined in policy 3.1.3. As noted, the subject site is directly contiguous to the established urban service area and is surrounded by a combination of mixed uses, commercial, public, quasi-public, and residential development. Similar land use intensities, including suburban mixed use 6 and community mixed use 12, future land use designations, are located immediately to the south across Lye Avenue, reflecting an established pattern of urban scale development that a proposed boundary expansion would logically extend. The proposal is also consistent with the following objectives and policies. Objective 6.1 of the comprehensive plan, which encourages growth that is sustainable and resilient while protecting environmentally sensitive resources. Lastly, the proposed urban service area expansion aligns with the Tonawanda-Sassa Community Plan's goals of preserving and enhancing Tonawanda-Sassa's unique character and sense of place, supporting a diversity of housing types and living arrangements, and accommodating commercial and employment uses that are compatible with the surrounding area. And with this, Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. And this concludes my presentation for HCCPA 2535.
Thank you. All right. Does the applicant have a presentation?
Okay, Commissioners, good evening. Jake Kramer again. Mr. Chair, with your permission, I'm just going to give, for both the applications, I'm going to run through my presentation now. I think you need that to get all of the context of the USA and the future land use map amendment.
All right. Yeah, if you could do it in 15 minutes.
I'll keep it in time. So our whole team is here today. This is a logical expansion of the current USA. We're within the study area that your team is already looking at today. And I think what you'll see when I show you the history is that this property probably should have been included in the USA from day one. But we're on 579, obviously, just north of the interstate. And when you look at the location map, you can see, and I know that you all are familiar with this because you've had several applications probably over the last year dealing with this 579 corridor. And I know you've struggled with some of those applications, and I hope you don't struggle with this one, because we're right across the street from the county landfill. We're right in the middle of this commercializing and really this industrializing corridor. I did want to let you know we purposely excluded a pretty large portion of this parcel from this request, and the reason was that land in purple is going to be open space, wetlands, and environmental lands, and the buffer to the single-family homes to the west as well. So again, we didn't want anyone to be worried that they might potentially have industrial all the way up to their doorstep one day. So with that, you can see here the current versus the proposed expansion. And as you all know, the USA was adopted in 1993. Well, that's relevant because this PD came along very shortly thereafter, and there's some other interesting elements we'll get to. But this PD came along, part of the property was in the USA boundary, and so you can see today we've got part of the property's in the USA, part of the property is not, and we have multiple different land use categories we're dealing with. So here you can see the very odd shape of this PD boundary that was approved in 1998, so just after the USA was came into existence. And that PD requires this property to be connected to water and wastewater. So that's why I say everyone sort of recognized back then that this property was appropriate for providing utilities to, and it's a little bit of a mystery to me why it wasn't included from day one. Ultimately, the property was developed. This particular part of the Lazy Days property is the RV resort portion, and so it is connected to utilities today. And you can see that here. Again, it's within that urban expansion boundary that you all are taking a look at now, and it's within the Tonawanda-Sassa Community Plan, which importantly recognizes 579 south of Pruitt as this commercial corridor, as this industrializing corridor, as you all well know. And then I didn't know this, but doing our research, we found that back in 1995, again, thinking about when the USA came into existence, this body back then sort of recognized this, back then seemed to be an evolving corridor. So here's where you can see really the intensity of this area that might not be apparent when you just look at an aerial photo. But you can see you've got Gator Ford, the very large Lazy Days PD already. We got the county's waste facility, Amazon, Castcrete, and then up to the north, we have Florida Biosolids and Mako Soils Recycling, which is a pretty intense composting operation. So the USA portion of this, again, is really what I think is kind of a technical correction, because everybody recognized in the 90s that this property should be brought into the, or should be required to use county utilities. So we've paired that, and again, I want to just get ahead of ourselves a little bit so you can understand ultimately what we're trying to accomplish and get to the big picture, is that we're requesting SMU 6. And we're requesting SMU 6 because you can see as you go just to the south, we've got CMU 12 on the current property. Excuse me, this is a little bit better view. You've got CMU 12 covering a portion of the Lazy Days PD now. And then if you just go just a bit to the west, there's SMU 6 already there. Again, the SMU 6 is already within the current PD. And we think that SMU 6 is a better transition. It seems like a little bit of an odd transition to me to go from CMU 12 all the way down to R4. So from a compatibility standpoint, again, we were looking at, is this appropriate when you consider all of the intensity in this area? And just again, to beat this dead horse, it's an area in transition. It has been for a number of decades. And you all have seen the applications come to you very recently that ultimately have been approved by the Board of County Commissioners. So we think they've set some policy direction agreeing with this industrializing corridor. And then I just want to give you a couple of photographs to see what's out there. So this is Amazon and Castcrete. This is also on 579. And this is on a truck route, of course. So, we'll keep this short. Again, we're asking for small expansion of the urban service area, along with a category that's already within this existing PD. We have filed a PD on this property so that everybody knows what they're going to get when we go to the Board of County Commissioners. So that has been filed, and we're working with county staff on that. So with that, our team is here again if you have any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We did not have anyone sign up in the public comment for this item, so I will turn it over to the commissioners for comments, questions, discussions. I don't see any takers. So Commissioner Lau. It's for no ma'am, it's for the county, the board now, not for the audience. Okay, is this for 30? No ma'am. 36? No, it's just for the first one. Yeah. I apologize. Commissioner Lau.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just urban service area. I just can't resist saying something pithy about the urban service area. I think it's become like the wet floor sign that you see when you come into a store. Everybody sees it, but everybody just tends to ignore it. So that's the only comment I'm going to make about the urban service area request. Not helpful, but
you just
we
couldn't
see more and more of them.
Just couldn't resist, could you? It's a new year and everything. All right, are there any other questions, comments, thoughts from the commissioners? All right, going once, going twice, and I'm going to close the public comment on this item and open it up to motions from the commissioners on this one. Commissioner Lau.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move we move HCCPA 25-35 Comprehensive Plan Amendment and forward it to the governing body for approval.
All right. Second. All right, we got a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Lauk, a second to that by Commissioner Kugler. Any questions, comments, thoughts from the commissioners before we take our vote? Would all signify their agreement by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries unanimously. All right. Next up, we have item 2H, HCCPA 25-36. Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment 6210 County Road 579, and the presenter is again Alexis Myers.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. Alexis Myers, Planning Commission staff, here to present HCCPA 2536, located at 6210 County Road 579. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 34 acres. The applicant is requesting to change the future land use designation from residential 4 to suburban mixed use 6. This is the general location map. This amendment is associated with HCCPA 2535 to expand the urban service area. It is in a rural area and within the limits of the Tonota-Sassa Community Plan. It is located north of East Lye Avenue and west of County Road 579. Here is the area of the site. The site is outlined in pink, and the blue line indicates the existing urban service area boundary. Here are some photos. This is looking onto the subject site from County Road 579. This is also looking onto the property from County Road 579. This is looking west of County Road 579, and then this is looking east. The Hillsborough Heights landfill is directly east across Sly Avenue. Across County Road 579. Currently, the future land use designation is residential 4. The residential 4 category allows 4 dwelling units per gross acre and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.25. This designation allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, and multi-purpose projects. Other future land use categories shown in this map include suburban mixed use 6 and community mixed use 12 to the south, public quasi-public to the east, and residential 1 to the west. The applicant is proposing to amend the future land use category to suburban mixed use 6. The suburban mixed use 6 category allows 6 dwelling units per gross acre and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.25. This designation allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, research corporate park uses, light industrial, multi-purpose, and cluster residential and/or mixed use. Office uses are not subject to locational criteria. Next are the impacts. As far as existing conditions, currently under Res 4, the site could consider 136 dwelling units or 281,000 square feet of non-residential uses. Under the proposed future land use designation of SMU 6, the site could consider 204 dwelling units or a maximum intensity of 740,563 square feet of non-residential uses. During the rezoning process, commercial locational criteria may affect the allowable square footage for potential non-residential development. The proposed amendment will result in the increase in development potential by allowing higher residential and greater commercial intensity. While formulating our recommendation, PC staff reviews all related policies regarding this proposed request. Though the request is related to several general policies, staff found 6 main areas of consistency. The proposed amendment is consistent with the following objectives and policies of the comprehensive plan. The subject site meets the intent of Objective 3.1, Objective 4.4, and its associated policies regarding compatibility and neighborhood protection. The subject site is directly contiguous to the established urban service area and is surrounded by a combination of mixed-use, commercial, public, quasi-public, and residential development. The site meets Policy 3.1.2 and Policy 4.7.4 as a transition to the SMU 6 designation on the subject site in conjunction with the expansion of the urban service area would provide an appropriate transition intensity and density while remaining compatible with the surrounding land uses. Oh, I apologize. Additionally, the proposed amendment is consistent with future land use section objective 4.2, which stresses that all development within mixed use categories should be interconnected and integrated to ensure cohesive urban growth. As noted, the SMU 6 designation is directly south to the subject site across Sly Avenue in combination with the adjacent community mixed use 12 future land use category. The proposed amendment is also consistent with Objective 1.1 and Objective 1.3 of the One Water section of the comprehensive plan, as they facilitate development in an area served by existing infrastructure while ensuring that sensitive environmental features and water resources are protected in accordance with adopted policies and regulatory standards. Lastly, the proposal aligns with the Tonota-Sassa Community Plan goals of preserving and enhancing Tonota-Sassa's unique character and sense of place, supporting a diverse of housing types and living arrangements, and accommodating commercial and employment uses that are compatible with the surrounding area. And with this, Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. And this concludes my presentation for HCCPA 2536. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kramer.
Thank you, Jake Kramer. I'll just rest on the previous presentation and staff's excellent report. I'm not used to having so many consistency findings in one night, so I'll leave it at that. We're here for any questions.
Thank you, sir. All right, we did have 2 individuals sign up for the public comment on this one, so I will start with Cynthia Godwin Wilson.
Good evening, Commissioner and Board. My name is Cynthia Godwin Wilson. I live at 11413 Buster Bean Drive. I've been listening to the developer and the applicant with their proposals. I heard plenty information about the industrial use and the improvement of Lazy Days RV Resort. They were speaking of the west boundary where the environmental impact is at, where they did not want to bring industrial use all the way up to the existing residence's front door. I did not hear one word where they did not want to bring that intense improvement to the Buster Bean Drive area, and that's where I live. My visual is Lazy Days RV Resort. Excuse me, I'm nervous. We live in a mobile home. Our trailer sits high, so I am already able to see over the existing fence into the park, so I can see everything that's going on. There's noise, and anyway, my main concern is that Buster Bean Drive was not mentioned in any of the development for visual or for the industrial use coming up to their front door. My second concern is that any additional traffic to County Road 579 is going to be a very big problem, because we already have a very hard time turning left, trying to go northbound. And it's not so bad going southbound because it's an easy right-hand turn. But because of the existing store across the street from Buster Bean Drive, the new addition to Amazon, Cascrete, and all of the other development that you have mentioned, it is an incredible impact to vehicles already. We are just a small group of residentials who still live there. We lived there our entire lives. I feel personally that I've already paid my dues. We've paid our taxes since 1972 when we first moved onto the property, and we're still paying our taxes there today. So with respect, I would like for you to take a very good look at the proposal for Lazy Days is good. I like that. But if we're talking about SMU use and a possible warehouse or multi-use warehouses, that draws me into plenty of environmental concerns, even more noise. So please consider, when you move forward with this plan, you consider those of us who are left, who we feel are being commercially impacted or squeezed out of our community when we have lived there for decades. And
All
thank
right.
you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. All right.
And I apologize for the outburst, but when the gentleman said Plan 35 and 36,
I got you.
I thought I was going to miss my turn to speak. That's why I spoke out
All
of
right.
turn, and I apologize for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right, next up we have Barb Allen.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Barb Allen. Just to piggyback off what Cynthia said, most of us have lived out in this area our whole lives. Lazy Days has honestly been a pretty decent neighbor for us. Our biggest concern right now is, are we rezoning this property simply for more travel trailers and RV interests? Or are we looking at rezoning with the potential of selling that property in the future and then having to deal with that additional traffic that she mentions? As you know, Mango Road is currently just a 2-lane highway. We do battle many semis off of I-4. coming in for the truck stops and the gas refill at Flying J and TA America. So our biggest concern is that. So thank you for your time, and we hope that you would consider what you're voting for when you vote for this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Kramer.
Sure, Jake Kramer again. I did want to address a couple of comments. So Buster Bean is the roadway that's adjacent to our north. We have talked to the county. Again, we just filed our PD, and we know we're not going to be able to get access to that road. So I just wanted to let the citizens know that. I also wanted to let everyone know we will be having a community meeting for this project. The reason we haven't yet is because I like to get the first round of county comments back on my PD so I don't show up at a community meeting and then inevitably get 35, 40, 50 county comments, and it is that many sometimes, and then have to make all of those changes, and the citizens come back and say, you know, this isn't what you showed me. So we're getting those comments now. We're expecting we'll be able to have that community meeting in the next 60 days. It sounds like I wrote these folks' names down. We'll make sure they get notice of that as well. So thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Over to our board members now for questions, comments, discussion of this one. I'm not seeing a lot of excitement from anyone here, so I will let it go once, twice, 3 times. All right, I will close the public comment on this one. Open up to motions from the commissioners on this one. Commissioner Linkus.
I make a motion to find HC CPA 2536 Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment consistent with the Hillsborough Comprehensive Plan.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Linkus, a second to that by Commissioner Bowden. Any questions or comments, statements from the commissioners before we take our vote? Not seeing any, then would all signify their agreement by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries unanimously. All righty, our last agenda item for the night, 2I HCCPA 25-38 Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment 11017 East 92 Highway, and the presenter is Lillian Linehan.
Good evening, Commissioners. Lillian Linehan, Planning Commission staff, here to present HCCPA 2538, located at 11017 East 92 Highway. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 4.36 acres, and the applicant is requesting to change the future land use designation from residential 9 to suburban mixed use 6. This is the general location map. It is in the urban service area and within the limits of the Seffner Mango Community Plan. It is located south of East US Highway 92, east of Williams Road, and west of East Mobley Villa Drive. Here is an aerial of the site. The site is outlined in pink. The site currently has a mobile home park. There are light commercial uses to the north, east, and west of the site, with some heavy commercial to the west of the site. Single-family uses are located to the east, west, and south of the site, and there are public, quasi-public institutional uses to the north and one educational use to the east of the site. This is looking at the subject site from US Highway 92. This is also looking directly at the subject site from US Highway 92. This is looking east along US Highway 92 from the subject site. This is looking directly north across US Highway 92 from the subject site. And this is looking to the property directly east of the subject site. Before I move on, I would just like to point out that this amendment is 2 parcels with a split future land use. However, this amendment only focuses on a portion of both of these parcels. Currently, the future land use designation is residential 9. The residential 9 category allows 9 dwelling units per gross acre and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.5. This designation allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, multipurpose projects, and mixed-use development. Other future land use categories near the subject site include suburban mixed-use 6 to the north, residential 9 and community mixed-use 12 to the east and the west, and urban mixed-use 20 to the west. The applicant is proposing to amend the future land use category to suburban mixed use 6. The suburban mixed use 6 category allows for 6 dwelling units per gross acre and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.5. This designation allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, research corporate park uses, light industrial and multi-purpose and clustered residential and or mixed use. Currently, under the residential 9 future land use, the site could be considered for a maximum of 39 dwelling units or 94,960 square feet of non-residential uses. And under the proposed future land use designation of suburban mixed use 6, the site could be considered for a maximum of 26 dwelling units or 94,960 square feet of non-residential uses. During the rezoning processes, commercial locational criteria may affect the allowable square footage for potential non-residential development. The proposed amendment would decrease residential density, would not increase the potential of commercial intensity. However, it will increase the allowable ranges of uses to include light industrial uses. While formulating our recommendation, Planning Commission staff reviews all related policies regarding the proposed request. While the request is related to several general policies, staff found 4 main areas of consistency. The proposed request is consistent with FLU's Objective 3.1 and Policies 3.1.1 and 3.1.2, which call for compatibility and gradual transitions of density and intensity. The proposed comprehensive plan amendment to suburban mixed use 6 is consistent with this policy direction based upon the existing development pattern of the area, which includes light industrial commercial uses to the northeast west of the site, with some heavy commercial to the west, and single family uses oriented to the east, west, and south of the site. It is important to note that industrial uses are currently permitted on the northern portion of the subject site's folios that are currently designated as suburban mixed use 6 on the future land use map. Additionally, industrial uses may also be considered in the surrounding future land use categories along the US Highway 92 corridor, such as community mixed use 12 and the urban mixed use 20. Future Land Use Objective 7.1 intends to promote businesses that provide diverse employment opportunities that promote an appropriate jobs and housing balance where people can live near their workplace and that there are enough jobs in the area to support the local population. Given the location of the site along a designated commercial corridor and close proximity to residential neighborhoods, the amendment meets the intent of Objective 7.1. The proposal is also consistent with Goals 2 and 3 of the Seffner-Mango Community Plan. Goal 2 of the Seffner-Mango Community Plan seeks to enhance community character and ensure quality residential and non-residential development. Some of the strategies include discouraging commercial encroachment into residential areas between US 92 and Martin Luther King Boulevard and south of Martin Luther King Boulevard, and prohibiting flex provisions within and into the Seffner-Mango Community Plan area. Goal 3 of the Community Plan encourages commercial development to be directed to the US 92 and Martin Luther King Boulevard corridors. The SMU 6 category would not be encroaching into the specified residential area, as the SMU 6 future land use category allows for the potential of residential development. Additionally, the applicant is only amending a portion of the 2 parcels and will be leaving the existing residential 9 future land use along Old Hillsborough Avenue, where residential future land use categories and uses are currently oriented. The Seffner-Mango Community Plan prohibits flexes of existing future land uses, and currently the existing land use pattern within the area and on multiple parcels along US Highway 92 have split future land use designations. The applicant has worked with staff to request a comprehensive plan amendment to extend the SMU 6 land use instead of utilizing flex provisions to remain consistent with the existing community plan. Finally, the parcels are situated along the US Highway 92 corridor, where commercial development is encouraged to be directed to. The proposed map amendment would expand the suburban mixed-use 6 future land use by approximately 500 feet into the existing site, and the proposed amendment will allow for more opportunity and utilization of the site along one of the specified corridors in the Seffner-Mango Community Plan. The request is also consistent with One Water Policy 1.3.12, which states that no additional area shall be designated with industrial land use plan categories within the surface water protection areas. Even though the suburban mixed use 6 category allows for the consideration of light industrial uses, it is currently considered a mixed use future land use category under the comprehensive plan rather than an industrial future land use category. Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. This concludes my presentation. I'm here if you have any questions.
Thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation? Been a busy night for you, Mr. Pressman.
This one?
I said it's been a busy night for you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Todd Pressman, 200 2nd Avenue South, number 451 in St. Petersburg. That was a very good report, very expensive, detailed report. Thank you. So this is HCCPA 2538 seeking Res 9 to SMU 6 on 4.36 acres in the Seffner-Mango area in the USA. A little closer, you can see we're just off of Highway 92. You can see the future land use categories. The area is pretty intense, CMU 12s, CMU 6, and again a CMU 12. Current site is an older and moving along to other uses, mobile home park. Looking a little closer, future land use categories, as staff indicated to you, on the south part of US Highway 92 is SMU 6 at this site, and again you have the CMU 12 on another site. Little closer look. So looking at a 500-foot extension of the SMU 6, Planning Commission notes it is important that the industrial uses are currently permitted on the northern portion of the subject site that are currently designated as SMU 6 on the future land use map. And as indicated, Sefter Mango Community Plan goal, commercial development should be directed to US 92 and MLK Boulevards, and encourage revitalization, redevelopment of older existing commercial areas. Abutting west is a very intensive use, both vehicles and commercial equipment. Another view west. And abutting east appears to be a pretty intensive site. I did note a budget rental car, and it looked like other budget rental vehicles, but as you can see in the back, there's storage and use of very intensive vehicles abutting east. And then you can see that same activity both to the east and west on the aerial is very evident to see. So we have both intensive future land use categories and uses in the immediate area and abutting. And as the staff indicated, across Hillsborough Avenue, State Route 92 is also commercial use. Planning Commission notes that it is consistent with the policy direction based upon development pattern in the area, which is like commercial use to the north, east, and west of the site with some heavy commercial to the west. The roadway the site's located on is part of the Hillsborough County truck route plan and is also state principal arterial roadway, so again, very intensive. And at this particular site, it carries approximately 15,000 vehicles per day. So with that, Mr. Chairman and board members, we appreciate your attention, and it's apparent there is no one here in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. As Mr. Pressman stated, no one signed up to speak on this one, so I will turn it over to our board members for questions, comments, thoughts, discussion on this one. Mr. Kugler.
Yes, I was interested to see how Ms. Lanahan was going to handle the One Water. Thank you. That helped explain it, that there'd be, even though it can be industrial, it's going to be mixed use. So that seems like it's safeguarding.
All right. Any other thoughts, comments, questions from the commissioners on this one? Going once, going twice. Everyone looking like they want to go home. So I will close the public comment on this item and open it up to motions from the commissioners. Commissioner Kona.
Yeah, motion find HCCPA 2538 consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Second.
All right. Motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Kona. A second to that motion by Commissioner Kugler. Any questions, comments, discussions from the commissioners before we take our vote? Not seeing any, then would all signify their agreement by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries unanimously. All right. Thank you very much for the information. Have a good night, Mr. Pressman. And at 8:01 p.m., this meeting is adjourned. Good night, everyone.